Hey folks, Papa Boris here. Got an exciting one for you. We're up against the 23rd best player on Board Game Arena by ELO. I am currently 20th, although that, again, doesn't really mean a whole lot. Although I have started losing games pretty routinely, so this is going to be a good match, I hope. Let's go ahead and start with a very, very traditional opening here. We're going to step up, and we're going to grab one of the either Royal Guard or Illusionist. So, the Royal Guard, very strong character. If you take it as your first draft, you can get up to the enemy leader really quickly, but that's probably not going to be enough to win the game. So I'm going to take the Illusionist in the long term. I think that has more potential. And we'll just stick it down the middle, though I don't think that this player is going to accidentally let me swap places with his leader and win the game. Ooh, for the double draft, my opponent's probably going to be doing Royal Guard and Claw Launcher, pending, of course, what comes out of the deck. So both of us have some long range, some teleportation, some fast movement, ability to apply early pressure. It's going to be a game here, folks. It's definitely going to be a game. With the Royal Guard and the Claw Launcher, I'm really hoping the Vizier oh my god, the Vizier just showed up. Okay, well, there's the Vizier. So I wonder now if my opponent will take this over the Royal Guard. The Vizier is kind of turning into like my favorite character. Being able to run around quickly with the leader just buys you so much time and so much flexibility with how little you have to keep behind for defense that if it were me, I would actually take the Vizier here. This would be my top pick. Also, since my opponent just got the Claw Launcher, it lets the leader cut across the Claw Launcher's lane. And since I have the Illusionist, it lets the leader run across the Illusionist's lane. So personally, I think that if it was me in my opponent's shoes, I would take the Vizier, but my opponent goes for the aggression. They take the Royal Guard. Alrighty. I could swap places with the Claw Launcher, but the thing is my opponent can always pull my Illusionist back after that, so I'm not really sure what that really accomplishes. The question is, do I put my leader opposite my opponent's leader? I think maybe some space would be good, considering that I have the Vizier. I'm going to be taking the Vizier, so I'll always be able to cut across anyways. And do I move this way? I think I'll move this way with the Illusionist. That's fine. We'll end the action phase. We'll grab my favorite character in the game. I think what I want to do is put the Vizier over here. One thing I've noticed is that if you're able to go to one side of the board with your leader, then cut across to the other side, that can be really annoying for your opponent because it basically stops. Your opponent might have committed everything to try to pressure you from one side, and then all of a sudden they're on the other side. This is actually a pretty clever move by my opponent. Maybe I shouldn't have moved the Illusionist like this, because oh, never mind. My opponent moved the Claw Launcher. I was gonna say with this, my Illusionist kind of cut off. He can't go back because then the leader and the Royal Guard can step aside, and then Claw Launcher my Illusionist. My opponent grabs the Bruiser, which I'm not a super big fan of. Although that was probably that was definitely the best choice. Now the question is, what do I want to do with my time here? I think we're gonna use and abuse the Vizier to hop across the lane. Or, well, hold on. Maybe I want to step up first and then tuck my leader back here for safety. We'll try this. I want the Illusionist to step up anyways. The Bruiser gives you a little bit of inevitability because you could just march towards the enemy leader and there's nothing they can do about it. So that's a reason to take the Protector. However, the Protector is really lame and boring, and I think I'm going to take the Wanderer. I want the aggression from the Wanderer. We'll stick it here and call it a day. All right, so now I'm curious what my opponent does. None of these are super great choices. My opponent could take the Protector to stop me from taking the Protector, which would stop his Bruiser from moving, and secondarily maybe also sometimes stop the Claw Launcher from pulling things away, although remember the Claw Launcher can also be used to pull itself up, and the Protector does not stop against that. The thing that's unappealing about taking the Protector in this situation is that there is a chance that the Jailer comes out, and then the Jailer could also be used to stop the Bruiser. So wasting a pick for that, it's not a waste. It does stop the Illusionist from trading places. The Protector can go in a clump, and then the opponent can't Illusionist anything. But it's still not super appealing. So my opponent might take the Archer and try to do the Bruiser-Archer combo. Or just even the Assassin. I've been thinking the Assassin maybe is like a good board control type of character, where yeah, you're not really planning to win with the Assassin, but you are thinking about, well, if I put the Assassin in a certain spot, it just completely cuts the leader off from moving there, so you can force the leader to go in the direction that you want the leader to go. and, you know, try to use the assassin as a strategic control piece. Like, even just sticking the assassin over here makes life a little bit annoying for me because I got the bruiser coming in from the right and then the assassin coming in from over here. I think my opponent probably is going to draft something here or here to stop my wanderer just from leaping in right there. Aha, there's the assassin. Okay, so I have to be very careful about this because my opponent is doing a really nice job kind of surrounding everything and also playing quite aggressively with their leader. I can't really jump in to many places, but I think I will jump in here with the Wanderer. That seems like a logical place to go. At least it gets me somewhat close. The Vizier, I'm wondering if I should go up here or not and allow myself to get clawed. I don't care about getting pulled in toward the enemy leader. Do I care about the claw launcher pulling itself up an extra space? It's one extra space. That could definitely matter. The Illusionist. Let's take a step up. And if I go up here, the Bruiser could just push the Vizier back. I'd rather the Claw Launcher pushed itself up than the Bruiser pushing the Vizier back. So we'll do this. And now I have to think about what I want to do with the leader. Because if I run in this direction, I'm kind of committed to then having to always babysit against the assassin. But if I go the other way, then I'm obviously facing all these pieces, which might not be good. So there's a temptation just to kind of stay central. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just step up and kind of cradle the enemy's Royal Guard here. This still gives me the option later to run around the other side of the board. Now I have to make a very tough decision what I want to do here, because I think it's the Rider or the Protector. I think those are the main choices. My opponent has spread out a lot of their pieces, but they can always just duck the leader back a square and quickly form a wall. So it's not like my opponent's playing recklessly here. The Protector is the long-term safe pick. I can use it to stop the Bruiser from pushing my pieces around. The Rider might be able to get to the enemy leader more quickly. I don't think the Archer is correct here. Without the Bruiser, I don't think I have enough juice to like get up to the enemy leader and then also have the Archer behind, because again, the Archer has to be 2 squares away in a straight line, which can often be pretty easy to counter. The safe pick or the aggressive pick? Well, you know what? My style is with the aggressive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Rider. The thing is that I need to be a little bit careful about where to place it, because I want to try to make sure I can get 2 moves out of it. I like the idea of putting it here and coming in from the right, so that I have pieces coming from the right and from the left. But if I go here, my opponent could claw up my Vizier and then block this spot. On the other hand, do they really want to put my Vizier there? That seems a little bit aggressive. They won't lose the game, but it's a little aggressive. I'll see if they want to do it. By the way, if I didn't have the Vizier, I would have definitely taken the Protector there. But because I have the Vizier and I have this luxury of being able to run my leader around, I think that's what tips the scales for me. If not for the Vizier, I would have taken the Protector, stuck it over here or something, and just played a safer game. Trying to see if I can bait my opponent into overextending, and then, you know, protect myself against the Bruiser, and then just call it a day. Oh yeah, I didn't think about this. Maybe this was a bit of a committal spot to put the Rider, because I was thinking of moving the Vizier and having the Rider jump twice, but this is a pretty good move by the Bruiser here. Alright, so now my opponent has to step back with the leader to avoid losing. Alright, this is actually okay. I get my Rider pretty close to the leader. I can do the Wanderer to cut things off the back. I'm not hating this. All right, let's just play stupid, you know, basic ass leaders. We're going to use the active ability just to get close with the Rider. We're going to step this way with the Vizier. I hate the fact that the Bruiser can just push it out of the way, but I think that's fine. Well, you know what? Let's hold on. What if can I swap with the Claw Launcher? My opponent's baiting me here. They're just saying, hey, why don't you just swap with the Claw Launcher? Then you get your piece close to my leader, and I get my piece close to you. You know, I'm gonna go for it. F it. What's life if you don't live, right, kids? I mean, what's life if you don't live? So we're going to do this. We're going to jump in here with the Wanderer. Actually, I don't need to... Okay, I could swap with the Claw Launcher. I could also just step up with the Illusionist, right? I don't need to swap. I could step up. Is it possible that that's checkmate? My opponent forms a wall. Oh, my Rider and my Wanderer still get in. If the Bruiser goes back here to block the Rider... maybe it's sufficient just to put the Illusionist here. But I think being able to go there is very important. I think that actually does matter. So if I swap and then run with my leader, am I safe? I have to be very, very careful about moves like that. You could easily lose the game because of it. I think I'm going to do it. Whatever, man. This is where leader is at its most fun. I've had a couple of games where it, like, kind of drags out. And you know that you cannot win. Like, it's impossible to win. But you also can, like, put up a wall and make it really hard for your opponent to win. And I have to admit, that is the less fun aspect of this game. Those types of games are not as fun as the types of games where everyone's just going balls to the walls, Dickens crazy, trying to murder each other. What I think I'm going to do is put the Vizier here. This stops the Claw Launcher from going this way. And the Bruiser could step in, of course. But if the Claw Launcher can't get over here, then the leader can actually run into this corner and buy himself a fair bit of time. Because I'm just banking on the fact that these pieces are so close to my enemy leader. I mean, I'm just surrounding this guy. Like, I didn't calculate precisely, but I have to imagine my opponent's going to have to pull everything back just to survive this turn. And for the record, even if I didn't have the Vizier, I could have done this move. I could have put my leader there, and my opponent would not have had checkmate. So it's possible that I could have done these types of shenanigans without the Vizier, but it's just so much safer with the Vizier to be able to make this this type of crazy swapping play. Oh, right. Of course. The leader just steps this way. Right. And then my Illusionist and Wanderer are both out of reach. But my opponent, well... It's a risky play because my opponent obviously has to stop me from swapping places with his Bruiser. Oh, my opponent's going all in. So I think he's going to step up with the Bruiser and just count on the fact that I cannot checkmate him this turn. This is a curious move. I think my opponent had to go here. Well, no, because if my opponent goes here, I just step... Well, I could just go whoop with my leader, and then I'm out of range of the guard and the Bruiser. So maybe my opponent's trying to stay more centralized. Oh, okay. My opponent didn't move the Bruiser. My opponent used the Claw Launcher on the Bruiser, and then used the Bruiser to move and push my Vizier. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so the question is, if I run my leader here, which does require the Vizier, do I get to survive another turn? Is there some kind of shenanigan whereby with the Claw Launcher, my opponent gets to get up to me and win? I don't think there is. Now, it looks like what my opponent's plan here is to use the Claw to pull up the leader away to safety. So I need to make sure that I guard against this. Can't jump anywhere good with the Wanderer, unfortunately. So we're just going to step with the Wanderer, but the question is which direction. I think I need to go... I need to make a bit of a weird move, because basically my opponent is leaving this lane open to save the leader if I close in with my other pieces. So that's the trick. But if I, like, put my Illusionist here and my Rider here, then the king cannot be pulled. However, then my opponent may be able to just duck into the corner, like put the Royal Guard here to block my Rider from coming back, and then duck in the corner. So my opponent is playing a very dangerous game. So I have to decide, is it worth it to stop my opponent from pulling the leader, or is it better to just allow him to pull the leader and try to checkmate him after that? Because, like, the obvious move would be Illusionist here, Wanderer here, and then, like, Rider just there or something. But then again, my opponent could pull in the leader, and then I wouldn't have checkmate. Yeah, I think my opponent's playing this quite well, where the leader seems to be surrounded by enemy pieces, yet he isn't actually losing the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my leader here, and the reason for that is that I am going to cut off my opponent from being able to pull his leader back with the claw, because this is now a checkmate space. The idea then being that my leader can be potentially used as the checkmating piece if the opponent goes to hide with his leader. He'd have to pull the royal guard back to stop that from happening, and then that would take the pressure off of my leader, because he can't checkmate me with just this bruiser. Of course, my problem is that if my opponent threatens checkmate just by stepping in with the bruiser like this... Oh, I messed it up. I'm going to lose this game. So what my opponent gets to do here, unfortunately, is he just steps up with the leader like this, keeps the royal guard here, and just puts the bruiser there. Then I don't have any way of stopping checkmate. I can't run with the leader because then the royal guard would just step down for checkmate. I can't block this square with another piece. And I just don't have enough pieces that are able to get into the leader. So I overcommitted protecting myself against the claw pulling away the leader, and made it so that, because if my rider had stayed here, the leader would have been cut off from moving. That's what I should have done, because then I think my opponent could have saved his leader by pulling him in with the claw, but he wouldn't have been able to threaten checkmate the way he is now just by moving the bruiser in here. Because he would have needed to prevent me from moving up with the vizier and checkmating with the vizier and the illusionist. Oh man, I think I had that game. I think I just got too clever. I saw that my opponent had a way to save his leader one way, and then I didn't realize that my opponent could have just saved his leader a different way, leaving myself without a checkmate. So this was the losing move. Was where I... Wait, what? Oh my god. I'm a little bit confused. Why did my opponent pull the royal guard back? I don't think there was checkmate if the opponent kept the royal guard here, because I can't move up with the leader, since that would be putting my own leader in checkmate. This is quite curious. Am I missing something? Well, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, tell you what. So we're going to run with my leader here. And what's the plan here? Do I step up with the vizier? Yeah, I should step up with the vizier, because the vizier is being kind of useless in his current location. The question is, which way? Here or here? If I go here, my opponent could bruise the vizier. No, that doesn't actually help at all. Okay, well, I think we'll step up this way, so that if my opponent puts the assassin here, I can run here and already be safe. And then, you know, we keep on trucking, I guess. I can't move my rider, because then the bruiser could move and the claw launcher could just claw, so the rider has to stay put. The question is whether I want the wanderer to jump down here, or to keep coming at it from this angle. I think we're just going to keep coming at it from this angle. And we'll go here, and that'll be that. Oh, I messed up. My opponent moves the leader down and then teleports with the royal guard and checkmates. Oh, yeah, there was nothing I could do about it. Either the claw wins or the royal guard wins. Ah, man, good game of my opponent. That was good mind games because, again, there was that spot when the leader was here and I had him surrounded. I played against the claw pulling the leader back by moving my rider from here to here. And if I had just kept the rider here, my opponent would not have been able to come in with the leader and use the leader to win with the royal guard. So a nice play by my opponent. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.